Sirs, good evening, sir. So for the next iPhone launch, what design would you approve, sir? Oh, new design already? So are we launching an S model this year? I don't know. Do you think people are crazy enough to buy an S model in 2021? People just buy anything which we sell, even if we just sell it the same thing with a few tweaks. Hey, easy now. Although you're out of line, but you are right. So the new phone design then? Here, let me ask you something. What phone are you using? Show me. The iPhone 12 Pro Max? No, you're using iPhone 13 Pro Max. Oh. Oh! Oh! I got it. I got it, sir. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Although, I would rather change the blue color, lighten up a bit. Yeah, that would work. Alright, let's get started. Hey, what's up everyone? This is Prateek and this is that time of the year when Apple showcases their latest and slightly greatest iPhones every year. Slightly. Okay. Alright. So I've been reviewing the iPhone launch event ever since little over a decade now through my Facebook, and this is my second year when I chose to make a video out of it. So let me be sure and clear that no, it is not sponsored by Apple, nor they are giving me any sort of products, and neither am I advertising any of their products. I'm merely here to explain you that whether or not should you be buying any of these products, should you be investing in any of the Apple products or not. Totally up to you. Now before I start, let me first acknowledge the fact that Apple, just like every other year, has done a tremendous job, such a tremendous job to present their products. I mean, just look at it. Look at it. Just look at the production design, the massive virtual sets, the phenomenal drone shots completing with the over-the-top magnificent transitions. It really shows how much a fantastic presentation can actually make your product look so intuitive and interesting, even though they are not in real. There, I said it. Sue me, Apple. Alright, let's start with the review of the event. All those products which they have launched, I am covering you in the very short and subtle way, not in a subtle way, but in a brief way as possible. My video would be long, so there are timestamps. You can jump into it, whatever the section you want to watch. Or if you want to watch the whole video, feel free to watch it. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment before I start. Now the irony stands here, as I'm clearly not talking about the iPhone 13 first, because iPhone 13 wasn't the highlight of this event. Now before I jump into iPhone any further, let's talk about the biggest launch of the event. Yes, I'm talking about the iPad, or the iPads. There were two, because you know, I can. Poor joke. Sorry, my bad. Because frankly, there was no groundbreaking feature or design change. There were no portless iPhones, there was no in-display fingerprint sensor, as everybody speculated, and it was long rumored, something which was in the pipeline for a long time, that everybody was speculating about it, and yet Apple failed to deliver that this year. Also, there was no Apple's very own classic "one more thing." Come on, you are presenting an Apple keynote, a special event, and there is no one more thing? I mean, why? In fact, all the things which were present in the iPhone 13 were long rumored to be present in iPhone 12. So if you really want the in-depth review of that, please check out the I button, my last year's video of the iPhone 12, because 90% of the stuff is present there, which is present in iPhone 13. So go ahead Alright, it's time! It's time for the main event of the iPhone launch. Here we go! And for that, I have an expert from Apple, which I had last year. So let's start with the launch of the iPhone 12s. Okay, I'm definitely not kidding about this one. And here's why. Up till iPhone XS, for every alternate year, Apple used the nomenclature of S. But that had a negative impact on the sales. People would not choose to upgrade over merely an S update. So ever since then, Apple stopped naming the S series. So this year's upgrades are so subtle and so minimalistic that they are like what the iPhone 6s was as compared to the iPhone 6 and what the iPhone XS was as compared to the iPhone 10. Are you sure that it's not some sort of gimmick to trick the people into buying the new iPhones? I don't know. Tell me the new features of the phone then. But before you do that, let me tell you what isn't changed on the new iPhone. What is carried from the iPhone 12. And trust me, it's a very big list. God help me. Same 5G support, same overall design of the phone with flat edges, same aluminum chassis, same dimension, although the camera bumps are larger due to the larger camera sensor. Same 5.4-inch and 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display, but it is now 28% brighter, coated with the same ceramic shield, same IP68 water resistant and dust resistant rating, same Face ID, same front facing FaceTime selfie camera, and the back cameras are still 12 megapixel, both wide and ultra wide camera, and same MagSafe. And you know, I understand the changes are not always required. I mean, the last year iPhone 12 launch was significantly much better than the competition. It did not require any sort of change. So I get it. I understand that the significant change wasn't required this year. I am probably getting subverted by the people for this comment. God help me again. Yeah. As they always claim that the new iPhone has the better lighting, so this year was no different and no surprise there. The camera sensors are now bigger, and now it has a sensor shift OIS which they introduced with the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So to accommodate both cameras and both their sensors, they increased the size of camera module. Agreed. So the most prominent highlight of the event for this phone was this particular feature, because it is showcased as a perfect cinema-like shooting experience. It basically is a portrait mode for the videos, but the way they presented it was remarkable and noteworthy. Because when I first saw the feature and how the Oscar-winning filmmaker Catherine Bigelow worked on this, used this feature, I'm not gonna lie, it legit felt so surprising to see such features on the screen. And as a content creator myself, I know how important the focus shifting is. To seeing that was such a remarkable thing. But there are a lot of buts. There's always a but, and here it is. Let me show you what they claimed.
It's a technique called rack focus that requires skill, planning, and creative vision, and storytelling. Well, we're bringing this capability to iPhone, so you can capture cinema-style moments even if you aren't a professional filmmaker.
That's a pretty bold statement there, and I kinda disagree for a couple of reasons. Here's why. Whatever Apple showcases, it's under the best case scenario, with best lighting, best color grading, best production value. And with that, the results were pretty great. But relatively same was already achievable through the third-party apps and the manual mode for the focus shifting. Again, I have not tested this feature in the real-life scenario for obvious reasons, and so I will keep my final verdict till that feature comes, until I personally use that feature. Then only I can make my verdict on that. For now, I just felt it's some sort of exaggeration. I don't know. Okay, a couple of years back, the other smartphone companies found several ways to hide the notch. But at Apple, they are quite okay with it. And as a matter of fact, even the consumers of Apple ecosystem aren't necessarily bothered, reasonably speaking. Alright, so here I have my iPhone 12 Pro Max, as you can see on the camera screen. So this iPhone 12 Pro Max is running with the latest iOS 15. Okay, so for the reference, I also have my iPhone XS Max, as you can see on the screen. It is a 3-year-old device. It has Apple's A12 Bionic chip, and it is also running at the iOS 15. I frankly see no sort of difference in the performance, to be honest, as compared to my iPhone 12 Pro Max and the XS Max. They are absolutely similar in terms of the performance and speed. So the room for the upgrade for the performance for now is rather a gimmick. Not trying to be condescending here, just stating the facts. Maybe a couple of years later we'll see the real performance once this device will start to age. But please don't tell me that this is the fastest and the most advanced iPhone we have ever created. God damn it! I knew! It again ships with a 5nm chip, just like last year's A14 on the iPhone 12. It now has 6-core CPU with advanced machine learning that enables Siri to work offline, thanks to its 16-core neural engine. But what's interestingly quoted in this video is this.
It's the fastest CPU in any smartphone, up to 50% faster than the leading competition.
And now, as you can observe, clearly they nowhere compared it with the A14 chip that is on the 12 Pro Max and the iPhone 12 series. They just compared it vaguely with the competition.
Up to 50% faster than the leading competition.
Now, competition can be literally any flagship. And statistically speaking, the performance of the A15 really is 50% faster as compared to the flagship. But I believe it doesn't instigate any sort of performance upgrade over the Apple's A14 chip. So that's why they chose not to mention it anywhere. Unlike every other year when they mention it, they compare it with their last generation of chips. This year they did not. Next is the battery life, which is slightly bigger. And with the more efficient processor, it is now able to deliver 2.5 more hours than the iPhone 12 and 1.5 more hours than the iPhone 12 mini. The great thing is now it comes with 128 gigabytes of base storage. Oh yeah, gone is that 64 gigs variant which everybody used to buy helplessly in terms of peer pressure. Solely for that. It's gone. Now you get the basic variant of 128 gigs, and the storage along with 256 gigs comes with 512 gigabyte as well. And now it is also offered in the gorgeous looking pink color, and the white color is now basically replaced with Starlight. The rest of the colors are carried from the last year's model. I think the 128 gigs model variant is a much better deal, considering the fact that they have launched it cheaper than what the iPhone 12 was launched at the time. In India, obviously. Yeah, such subtle hints and so many intended pun. Let's not waste any more time and let's start with the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max. Unlike every year, this time the Pro series has completely different camera sensors than the standard series. Let's start with the new Sierra Blue color. Again, the design is same as the last year's with the stainless steel edges. So apart from the features of the iPhone 13, what are the Pro features in these Pro series in your Pro way? Oh damn, finally, they've done it. They've done it, finally. Yes. The exclusive features which are available, which are present in the Pro series of this year, aren't necessarily the ones which weren't achievable in the past years of iPhone. In fact, the 120Hz ProMotion display which they showcased isn't something new. Almost every Android's flagship smartphone from 2021 has 120Hz adaptive display. And also, as a matter of fact, Apple was the first one to introduce the variable ProMotion 120Hz display. That too 4 years back in 2017 when they first launched the iPad Pros with the ProMotion display. 4 years. 4 years! They took 4 years to finally get those ProMotion display inside of the iPhone. God, why? Interestingly though, things which are worth noting is that the ProMotion display which are featured now were supposed to be featured in the iPhone 12 Pro series. In fact, the hardware of the iPhone 12 Pro is compatible with the ProMotion. For some reason, it was the last minute decision to disable it. Again, Apple being Apple, nobody can complain. So they chose to keep it for the next generation update. Another year wasted. God. Oh my God. Now what the 120Hz ProMotion display essentially is, that it is twice the refresh rate from the traditional 60 Hz, meaning the display will refresh at 120 times per second as compared to the older iPhone which refreshes 60 times per second, making the phone browsing speed smoother and faster. This display frequency is variable one, and according to your activity, the refresh rate fluctuates. Conveniently enough, it helps mostly in gaming where it supports 120 frames per second. The display size are same as last year's at 6.1 inch for iPhone 13 Pro and 6.7 inch for iPhone 13 Pro Max. The display is now much more brighter at 1000 nits peak for the outdoor. And for those who still couldn't understand what ProMotion display actually is, it is the most significant part of any display for today's contemporary phone. It is as important as what Retina display was 10 years back. So I really like it, although it was so long overdue, but it finally happened and I'm really thankful to Apple for that. Now, apart from the ProMotion display itself, the only worthy upgrade on the next generation of the iPhone was the camera. Although the camera module is the same as the last year's, the layout of the cameras are same as the last year's Pro model. There are 3 lenses coated with a sapphire crystal, supporting the Pro RAW, which was introduced last year itself. And there is also a LiDAR scanner, which personally for me is a very useful feature, comes in handy. But the difference is, however, huge as compared to the iPhone 13. And this is the first time ever they have differentiated the camera units. Even the wide camera, the primary camera, is different from the standard iPhone 13 on the iPhone 13 Pro, which wasn't the case, by the way, last year. But this year's iPhone 13 Pro has a slightly better lens than iPhone 13. With the largest sensor and widest f1.5 aperture, theoretically speaking, it should be the best camera on a smartphone out now. Now the next is telephoto camera. Telephoto lens is now a 3x optical zoom, bumped up from the 2.5x from the last year's telephoto camera. Not much significant update there, but better. The ultra-wide angle lens is now f1.8 aperture, meaning that it can click better low-light photos. But the highlight of the lens of this year for the ultra-wide angle is the macro lens. It finally supports the macro photography. As the name itself suggests, it can now focus and click photos of very close range of objects. Let's be honest, and I say that every year, that the iPhone camera video capabilities are the best, and there's no comparison for any smartphone when it comes to the video on iPhone. Last year, they introduced the groundbreaking Dolby Vision 10-bit 4K HDR 60 frames per second video, which was tremendous. I personally used it a lot. This year, they have taken a leap forward. I was wondering, what can they do next? But they did it. They again did it. Introducing the Apple ProRes format on the iPhone. Being an editor and a user of Final Cut Pro, Apple ProRes, no way, not a chance. On such a small sensor of a camera, of a phone. This is, for me at least, a very huge deal. It's basically a lossless compression format and the array of codec which is used for cinematic grade professional video editing. In English, I would say it's a video format that is solely for editing the video, enhancing the video for cinema grade videography and not for your daily use Instagram reels. It's basically a raw file for videos. This feature blows the competition out of the league. There is no comparison for any smartphone ever on the market that has such capabilities as this phone has. But there is a catch. Something which Apple didn't showcase in the whole event, which I saw while scrolling through the specifications. As you can see here, the base 128 gigs model will only support up to 1080p for ProRes video and not the 4K. Now, speaking of the storage, last year Apple discontinued the 64 gigs version on the Pro models and the baseline was 128. This year though, they are continuing with the same track. They have 128 and 256 and 512 gigabytes of storage. But however, this time they've introduced, wait for it, 1 terabyte. What? 1 terabyte storage. That means, for the reference, it is 1024 gigabytes, 1000 gigabytes on a smartphone internal storage. I mean, it's so big of a deal. Imagine 10 years back, having a 16 gigs in your smartphone was a very big deal. 5 years back, if I imagine, even 64 gigs on a smartphone was more than sufficient. And having this is a very big deal. That is absolutely crazy. Alright, let's jump into the verdict conclusion. The video is ending now. Thank God. Apple, just like any other year, managed to deliver a product that has a sustainably groundbreaking hardware and a software performance. While there are upgrades in the display and camera, these upgrades are so minimal and subtle that an average user wouldn't even notice in the daily usage. And quite honestly, no company delivers such a radical changes in an immediate effect. This year was mostly like an S update, to be precise, as I told you in the beginning of the video. But the features come in handy, like cinematic mode, ProRes, better lighting performance, brighter ProMotion 128Hz display, longer battery life, and faster graphic performance would be fairly interesting, intuitive, and worthy to look at. To say the least, I wouldn't recommend people who own an iPhone to upgrade to iPhone 13, as there is little to no real changes. Even for people using iPhone 11 and your usage is strictly limited to social media surfing, then this isn't a significantly new update for you. For Pro, however, if you're really into filmmaking and photography and you would like to explore the use of new features, this is definitely for you. Rest assured, if you have the money and if you feel the need to flaunt the latest and the greatest iPhone, just order it now, buy it now, it's your choice. This is Pratik and I'm signing off. I hope you liked the video, and again, please be sure to like, subscribe and comment. Thank you very much.